Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast from the host, Imperial Dane. A Monday novice fight for you all. A bit of novice action to look at and learn from. Some mistakes to analyse. And a 2 versus 2 to boot here in Minsk Pocket. We shall be watching Knyteshade and Silverstar 429 of the 310th Rifle Division going up against tradelkpro and North Korea of the Wehrmacht, of the Germans, of the CoH2, which was a rather unique sort of scraped together division formed from the remainders of other shattered divisions. Fun little fact there. For those that did not know. Two MG42s moving up, so pretty heavy start on that from the Germans. Russians are advancing out to every corner of the map, at least the ones close to them. So far, so good. If one could say that. Another MG42. Come now, gentlemen, let's be a bit creative, a bit aggressive, a bit non-novice-y. And there we go, Grenadiers actually arriving from North Korea. Not that North Korea. Points being secured, ignoring the victory points, interestingly enough. MG42 rushing up to secure the center right flank untouched by the Reich. There we go, the second heavy machine gun team. And they are going for the victory points. Looks like Knyteshade has retreated his combat engineers. And it's looking to set up a structure support weapons company. But so far no engagements. Watching over the center victory point. I mean, the center is completely unguarded by the Soviets. Germans could have just advanced up there and secured the fuel right from under their enemies' noses. So that's a bit awkward. Another Grenadier squad. Nothing else going on here from tradelkpro, who instead seems to be building bunkers. I fear tradelkpro is suffering from Maginot Syndrome, which again is something you really need to see a therapist about. Well, not really, but you need to knock yourself over the head and stop that nonsense. You don't build that many bunkers. Certainly not like that, and this early into the game when you already got machine guns and all that. Clearly dire sufferer of Maginot Syndrome. And meanwhile, conscripts moving up the right hand side. Looks like North Korea might be reacting to this. And he's ignoring the strategic point, just moving on. Not even getting red neutral. North Korea though needs to react a bit more aggressive to this with the MG42 as well. And there you go, the second bunker is up. And he doesn't even have the munitions to upgrade them. So in that sense, I mean, if the enemy actually push through and get behind them, they're going to be waste of manpower. Again, really another sign of dire suffering of Maginot Syndrome we are seeing taking up already up here for North Korea. Says they're already arrived with grenades. Then we might see here the Soviet player losing one of its conscript squads, might even lose another one. This is dreadful. A rather aggressive flank, but without no clear idea what was going on. And instead took a brutal thrashing, losing most of his infantry forces right away. And we're seeing two support weapon companies going up. We're seeing a field gun arriving already. I think that's a bit early up, within the 4-minute mark. I mean, you're not going to see vehicles that fast. Although we are seeing the light mechanized company going up for North Korea. Even that's going to be a bit some time.
It's done, yeah?
Munitions cache up. I suppose that fits in with the whole let's upgrade the bunkers. And of course he's upgrading the one there. There's already an MG42 in front. Oh dear, again, dire case of Maginot Syndrome. Could also be called the unimaginative syndrome, if you will. Just building up field guns, sandbag positions. I mean, apparently expecting to be rushed right away. These gentlemen seem to be running a bit around in their own world. Machine guns arriving for Silverstar. So it's being slowly pushed back, although that's largely being done by North Korea because again tradelkpro is too busy building bunkers everywhere.
headquarters has been improved.
And certainly there's an urge to slap him hard rising. Again, Knyteshade seems to be operating by some sort of different rules from the actual game, which generally tends to be a bad idea, since they also tend to be not based on any kind of logic. And of course it's now currently then leaving Silverstar to do all the fighting, just like currently tradelkpro is leaving North Korea to do all the fighting. And in that sense, again, you know, the whole passive play really does not work in a 2 versus 2 like that. It's pretty much terrible for team games, since it pretty much means if either side gets a bit more aggressive, then the other side is going to go lose pretty hard. 3 field guns. Again, Knyteshade is just doing absolutely nothing. Silverstar needs to work in unit preservation. Maxim here could easily get flanked. Silverstar's forces are way too exposed, way too poorly handled. But winding up again, Knyteshade really seems to be operating according to some very unique rules. Silverstar's Maxim getting assaulted here. Rifle grenaded. tradelkpro needs to get bloody well moving. And again, just standing about here, we're seeing Silverstar sending a mechanized armor company, guards infantry arriving, and Knyteshade just continues to do absolutely bollocks.
Grenadiers. MG element ready.
And I mean, how else to describe this? Again, some pretty harsh Monday novice stuff, but again, apparently necessary, since again there are people who send me these games, and so on.
We are ready for action.
So obviously there's a need to point out that this is not how you're supposed to play the game, or any game at all. And I certainly can't determine the logic behind all of this, if you can actually call it logic. But it looks like some sort of assault is being initiated. Knyteshade actually moving up. We're also noting here that North Korea is getting an over blitz, so he's got assault support. Field guns moving up, presenting a wall of fire. It looks like North Korea is already pulling back in the face of this onslaught. We're also knowing this is actually a pretty huge blow. A few MG42s and mortar rounds could put a pretty terminal dent into all of this. Packs arriving. And there we go, advancing straight into 2 MG42s, a bit of a kill zone. Field gun setting up. And looks like barrages are going to be incoming from Knyteshade. Bit of a barrage right there going against the MG42. That could end up very bad for it. There we go, MG42 is retreating, being slightly reinforced by the half-track, but ends up taking some further losses. Panzertech's upgraded as well. Knyteshade continues to bombard away to his heart's content. Troops moving up here, getting stopped though. Silverstar suffering as well, left and right. But not really actually very heated engagement. Field guns dealing with... Oh, MG42 cleared out. And an SU-76 arriving. Strengthened rifle division very high on light artillery. But not very high in mobility, initiative or any sort of real aggression. Looks like a mortar arriving. Heavy mortar, that means guards, motor. Tank of battalion command up for Knyteshade. SU-76 needs to be careful, it doesn't get Panzertech. No idea what he's intending right there. Again, the infantry is actually far behind. That should actually be leading the way. Everything else following up on the infantry. Tactics, gentlemen, tactics, if you know what that means. More barrages. Forcing the fascists to run. Popping over to Silverstar. This guard's motor and his rather battered forces. Again, he's had to do most of the fighting, since again Knyteshade decided to just sit around for a large part and just eventually move out with a bunch of field guns. Orbital Blitz, rather in the potential line of fire for all of this. Heavy mortar rounds flying through the air, advancing up here, but a flame for a half-track from tradelkpro is turning things a bit unfortunate here. Moving in, but needs to be careful with all the field guns, and of course the SU-76. Now, why are you turning it, Silverstar? What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh well, never mind. Knyteshade's field guns saved the day. That was bloody well close.
Guards, stand your ground!
And I have no idea why Silverstar insists on sending this continually depleted Guards infantry squad towards the enemy to get killed. What is he thinking? But then again, that's what I keep asking myself when I see these gentlemen play for the most part. What are they thinking? And looks like we're seeing shock troops up, so that rather narrows things down here for Knyteshade. Lots of mines there, that's actually nice to see. Some actual mining there from Silverstar. Wondrous. Orbital Blitz trying to escape. The wrath of the Soviet Army, SU-85 on the way. Support armor company up. Lots of depleted infantry. And Knyteshade once more becoming incredibly passive, and Silverstar viciously overextending himself without much sensible in terms of tactics, unit placement or anything, thus stringing himself out and actually making him a very easy target. Looks like he's actually pulling things back a bit together now. Knyteshade's moving up his field guns again. And quickly clearing out a fuel cache. Wondrous. Panzer's moving up again. Once more they get a bit of trouble with the trees. And shock troops counter-attacking with their submachine guns, forcing the panzer gunners away. In the meanwhile, one field gun is getting flanked by a bunker, which takes a bit of skill. Another unit being sent to its death for this MD4. I'm not entirely sure what Silverstar is expecting. It's not going to move. Again, tradelkpro is pretty much a Maginot Syndrome sufferer, which again means the whole concept of moving is apparently very frightening for him.
We are taking losses! Contact with the enemy!
Panzer IV advancing. And continuing in despite having hit one mine already. What are you thinking, tradelkpro? No support and you just... Oh, good lord. Mortar arriving for North Korea. The Germans are not looking good, but again, that's also largely because tradelkpro is not really doing anything, leaving Silverstar to... North Korea, that is, to do most of the fighting. Lots of munitions caches up for Knyteshade. No actual tanks for him. He's yet to use that building he's built. And he continues in using the field guns as his main line front unit, which is a bit awkward. Panzer IV's not even being pulled back either. Oh! Good lord, 3 mines set off so close, killed 3 grenadiers. And looks like a head-on assault from the Germans, very little flanking, but there we go. Mortar firing in support. Rifle grenades, SU-85s, the SU-76 is where? For some reason all the way back, they're not able to support the front line. And another head-on assault from Silverstar. He really doesn't seem to be learning. Although now he's using the Maxim to try and pin down the enemy MG crew, which could actually work out. Grenadiers getting bombarded by the field guns. Another one field gun has been cleared out. German mortar having not so much luck so far. And there we go, the MG42 has been pinned. That should allow the Russians to actually push up the west flank. That was not all rubbish in terms of ideas. Field assault gun firing in support. Panzer IV finally going to get some repairs. Pioneers need to be careful. They don't set off the final mine. And the pack is getting bombarded. There we go, well played by Silverstar, popping over to Knyteshade. Just going for shock motor it is. Just had to briefly remember the name. My pardons for the silence. Well, I tried to remember. More munitions carriers are going, despite a point being taken right next. Again, also, some idea what's going on the battlefield. Again, Knyteshade seems to be working on a completely different plane. The game sort of occasionally allowing to sort of work in with those different ideas. I would almost suggest at this stage. And the H-85 here for Silverstar, for some reason being rushed in, taking a lot of fire. H-86 doing what they can, actually killing a poor Panzer Grenadier. But again, the front line here being constantly not really left properly supported. German infantry moving ahead, but please be careful the assault gun doesn't blast them to bits. Conscript's going to get wiped out. Silverstar is suffering viciously, though that is nothing new. Due to again the fact that Knyteshade plays rather well, not well. And this MG42 has not been recruited by anyone, certainly not the Russians. We could have used it to hold back the German advances. Grenade here and does a bit of nice damage there to the Grenadiers, but Silverstar has taken a brutal punishing. Shock tubers advancing. And looks like a strafing round is going to get called in. And of course, blobbing up your troops certainly makes it easier to hit with a single strafing run. But generally, you don't want to be blobbing up. We also know that North Korea has gone for a heavy panzer core. He has a support armor core, but he's yet to use it. What on earth is he thinking? And a flak panzer arriving there for tradelkpro. Which is always something. Another strafing run. And of course, also note Knyteshade hasn't used this building either. Don't build buildings if you're not going to use them. For heaven's sake, that's just a waste of resources and time. That really should not be some sort of Sphinx riddle. Looks like a Panzerwerfer there has been sent in to support the core Abteilung D. And there we go, munitions cache has been cleared out. Tradelkpro advancing with his Panzerkampfwagen 4. With an Austrian being sent in, and there we go. Panzerwerfer unleashing death in the general direction of the enemy, I imagine. Nicely placed, killing a few Bolsheviks. And looks like the Austrian here is getting cornered by the field guns again. No infantry support generally tends to be a bad idea. And there we go, the field guns made mincemeat out of it. Or some sort of mince anyways. Veterans run for the assault gun. That's splendid, that's splendid. Gets it closer to veteranry too. Another Panzerwerfer from tradelkpro.
Field gun standing by.
Panzers likely being lent by some Panzer division. to support the core Abteilung, and popping back to tradelkpro, and also time for the mid-game analysis. Current situation is not so good for the Germans. Again, tradelkpro working a bit like a weight around things. His strategy over here, of course, allowed North Korea to take all the beatings, of course, leaving all of a sudden tradelkpro to do most of the fighting. Again, he's not very clear about it. Losing a lot of armor, extending them in unfortunate ways, and ultimately losing vital ground. And of course, for North Korea, he's doing what he can, but he's currently got no armor either, and he's also been suffering a lot with his infantry, so he's also rather limited in what he can do. He's got a Panzerwerfer, so of course the idea might be to use that somewhat. Otherwise, you know, I'd suggest actually using more of their doctrines, and perhaps also trying to get a fragmentation bomb and then hit one of these blocks, perhaps the field guns as well, because, I mean, the Soviets are playing in a way that rather would make a fragmentation bomb incredibly effective. So the question is, can the German players realize this and actually utilize it, or will they casually neglect it? Of course, it's a very good question, but again, tradelkpro needs to stop overextending, needs to actually get aggressive, and also a bit more sensible. Same thing here for North Korea. He also needs some armor. Of course, you can consider something from here or there. Choice is up to him, and the Soviets need to stop bloody well blobbing up, need to use some proper tactics, and try to rely on, well, blobbing and, well, incredibly brute force tactics, which end up doing a lot of damage to them, and some more mines, instead of just, you know, extremely mining this side and then not mining anything else. It's a bit selective in how they're doing it, and of course the Germans just need to begin using both doctrines. Looks like they've also both gone for assault support, which is not really incredibly fortunate, since again it also means they're rather losing a lot of strategic flexibility in that way. In particular, they're not going to be very clever about using them, which again is also a bit, you know, what novices are about. I mean, you know, also using perhaps an artillery field officer might be an idea. The Tiger tank, yeah, I'm not so sure. But let's return to the fight. Let's see what the two sides will do. Another Panzerwerfer barrage. Nice target here, of course, being displayed. And hitting nothing, which is always a risk with rockets. They were never meant for accuracy, was more about just saturation bombing the enemy positions. If you wanted accuracy, you'd usually get some proper artillery, not the rocket. And an overblitz for tradelkpro. Panther 4 here with a few grenadiers in a nearby building. Looks like they're camping at the victory point. Looks like the field guns have been pulled back. Once more, Knyteshade pulling back his blob, and again leaving all field presence more or less to Silverstar. I mean, of course, Silverstar is going to be rather exposed again. Knyteshade seems to be operating a bit in his own little world, rather ignoring the realities of the battlefield. Or at least apparently not factoring Silverstar in any way, and leaving him to just take most of the blows.
Cargo trucks are now available.
Either way, it's not really encouraging.
To aid in resource production.
Not encouraging at all, I'm afraid. And looks like the Panzerwerfer actually took a hit from a Su-85, was cleared out but abandoned, and so recruit and ready once more. Barrage firing, killing two machine gunners but nothing else. Panzer IV coming under fire from something nearby. And there we go. Su-85, and also noting the Su-76 bombarding as well. Panzer IV needs to pull back. Rückzug. But I fear it might be too late here. And there we go. Panzerkampfwagen is kaputt. And looks like some Soviet air support is moving in. Or perhaps some Soviet reconnaissance. And North Korea forced to vacate the front lines. Also briefly holding all three victory points. The Soviets apparently don't really care about the one next to their base. But looks like they might finally be reacting. And again, note here, Knyteshade moving up, and of course he's making himself an extremely easy target for the Panzerwerfer, which really ought to be a point of concern for him, but apparently isn't. Now goes Su-85 moving up, straight versus the Panzer IV. And oh, really damaged, but the Panzer IV is not moving. It's actually just allowing it to shoot at perfect range. What are you doing, tradelkpro? Think, man. Think. And there we go, veteran 2 for the H-85, and now he's too late in pulling it back. Ach du lieber. Again, much too passive, not really doing anything.
Stuka fragmentation bombers now available.
Lots of Panzer IVs, but that's about it. And he's not really using them very effectively. And these are going to have to vacate, and Panzer IV is going to need to leave as well somehow, though that's going to be too late now. 3 field guns setting up. That's going to be an incredibly lucky Panzer IV if it's going to want to escape that. And there we go, building collapsed. Smoke actually being laid down, incredible. They actually put down smoke. Kudos to you, North Korea. That's actually good. Using smoke to obfuscate for an advance. Well done, well done. That's actually great. And so far, the only thing I can really say about this match so far, that's been great, but still great. Yes, something good to comment on. Hooray! Yay! Panzer IV, though, is still pretty much going to go tits up. Less yay about that. But at the same time, tradelkpro making some advance on the west flank instead, and again the Soviets rather horde mentality rather allows the Germans some ability to actually maneuver about. And of course the blobby nature of things of course also allows them to quickly lock it down with the Panzerwerfer and strafing runs. So in many senses the Soviets are currently rather doing their best to make it easy for the Germans, which is not really something Comrade Stalin wants to hear. They did what? Popping over to North Korea, who's got himself a Sturmgeschütz. Ja, Stug. Strafing rounds pointing in the battlefield. Looks like the Panzer IV is going to flank. Good lord, that's actually good. Come on, flank, flank, flank. Keep moving. 4 field guns here firing, though. I mean, a fragmentation bombing run right here would be pretty much game over, I think. That would slightly break Knyteshade. In the meanwhile, though, the Panzer IV's advance is utterly bugging down. tradelkpro clearly hadn't thought this through. He didn't organize them. Ah, what are you doing, man? Instead, he's splitting them up and allowing the Germans or Soviets to focus them down one at a time. And 2 T-30-45s have arrived for Silverstar. This is bad news. This is really bad news for the Germans. Why did... Oh, good lord. tradelkpro just threw away any advantage he had. But there we go. Panzerwerfer rockets going in. Shattering one of the field guns, allowing the rest to escape. But still, definitely not bad. They had 20 kills now on the Panzerwerfer. T-34s and 85s and the S-85 moving up. Grenadiers need to get away. And a Tiger tank is now also potentially available to be called in. Well, he's very close to doing so. Soviet armor advancing up. An armoured advance from the 310th Rifle Division being supported by some armoured brigade. Looks like the MG-42 was recruited by the Germans, not the Soviets. Panzer is advancing straight into heavy fire from the Soviet armor. Tiger tank has arrived. Stug moving up, but should probably wait for the Tiger. Warten Sie, no. Oh well. Stug, so be careful. There's a lot of firepower here from the 2 tanks, and already the H-85 calls his veteran to meaning, yeah, that Stug went down in 2 shots. Not really well handled. He should have waited for the Tiger to absorb the fire and then have the Stug fire in support. Schwerer Panzer. Another Panzerwerfer barrage. Bombarding the T-30-45 and the H-85. Panzerkampfwagen Tiger. And there we go, moving up. Needs to be careful though. Looks like one T-3045 is pulling back rather quickly. That's good to see. And we're seeing Mark vehicle up. Tiger tank needs to pull out. Looks like he's trying to get a parting shot here. And there we go. T-3045 is down. Tiger needs to pull back fully. Well, that's something. But a Mark vehicle combined with the veteran 285 is definitely doomed for any armor. It's a good point pulling back there. Brutal slaughter here of infantry, guards, infantry light in a huge pile of corpses. Lots of weapons dropped for anyone to pick up. And it looks like Knightshade's moving up again, making himself once more an easy target for a fragmentation bombing run. If only they saved up the munitions for it, they could break Knyteshade. Like a cheap table stand from IKEA.
Infantry squad has been killed.
And looks like an ISU-152 has arrived for Knyteshade. That could prove interesting. And a Tiger out for tradelkpro, but he's moving straight into all of these field guns, so several of them are veterans. Don't do it, tradelkpro, don't! 9! Ach du lieber! What is it with people handling Tigers incredibly poorly? We are seeing what looks like a Panzer barrage, but that's much far off. And a strafing run. That shouldn't be a strafing run. That should be a bombing run with fragmentation bombs. Oh dear, that Tiger's going to go down. There we go. Poorly handled. No support at all. That's not how you use a Tiger, man. And there you go, ISU-152 firing away. 6 kills already. Might want to upgrade with the heavy machine gun to help deal with the aircraft and of course infantry. Time to pop over to Silverstar, who's definitely looking shattered. Apparently the Panzer IV still there. How on earth did that happen? How on earth? T-3045 moving in. Victory points are ticking down very quickly. Another Tiger tank out from North Korea. Lots of strafing runs has been called in. The Luftwaffe is incredibly active in a desperate bid to keep the Korpsabteilung D in work. Tiger tank fires off a magnificent shot, wiping out a large pile of the machine gun crew. Wunderbar, wunderbar. Mortar round takes down the Panzerwerfer to half health. H-85 Veteran 2 moves up. And there we go, Mark vehicle as well. Already taking the Tiger down to almost half health again. The power of Mark vehicle, the power of Soviet veterancy. Tiger tank needs to get out and needs to get repaired. Victory points are incredibly low. Veterans one for the Panzer IV. Tiger tank needs to pull back. Why are you stopping up there? And looks like a Soviet strafing run or bombing run. No, bombing run. But too late, the Tiger's already gone, so that was a waste of munitions. And once more, Knightshade's pulled back again to build up his blob. Knightshade, not incredibly imaginative player. Very aggressive, competent, or anything good.
Fresh guards troops are standing by.
A second Panzerwerfer up from North Korea. Soviets really need to get moving. They do not have a lot of time left. Another Panzerwerfer barrage looks like it's slightly breaking up the advance. Of course, the Germans don't have much to resist with anymore either. Again, they wasted a lot of tanks, a lot of infantry, but still, if they can hold on for just a bit longer, it won't matter at all. Panzerwerfer down. Not really good idea to keep it at the very front line. Well, there we go. 11, 8, 6, 4, 2, And there we go. Game over. A loss for the Soviet Union. For the 310th Rifle Division. A victory, although not a sterling victory for the Corps of Tailung D. I mean, that was pretty damn close. Had the Soviets not run out of victory points there, that would have been game over for the Germans. I mean, both sides really made some serious mistakes, although they were both sides. One player that really brought it down, Knyteshade in particular. I have absolutely no idea what was going through his head. It really seemed, you know, to operate on an entirely different logic, only attacking when he felt like it, blobbing up, no finesse, no real clear thoughts about anything, allowing his teammate to constantly get ganged up, beaten down, meaning he was ultimately also rather less than combat effective. Really a considerable problem. The only thing that saved them from that being totally overrunning was the fact that tradelkpro was about the same, except he just built a lot of bunkers. I mean, again, that's the problem. A lot of players, again, just use bunkers as an excuse to just sit back and do nothing. You should not do that. Even when you have them, they should be there to supplement, not be the entire thing. Again, that rather meant that tradelkpro for a larger part was rather inactive, and again meant that North Korea was the one for the Germans who took all the beating, again, was thus less combat effective. Really, in that sense, a lot of problems. Unit preservation was a problem, of course, for both sides. The fact that Germans went for the same doctrine was not really clever either, and the whole building, this building, not using it, then moving on to this one, not really good either. I mean, in that sense, there was some large strategic and tactical poor choices going on from both sides, but again, Knyteshade really takes the cake for that one. I'm not even sure how to describe it. Again, it really just seemed like he was playing his entirely own game with his own rules. I'm sure he was deeply surprised they actually lost, because they clearly didn't bother with the victory points very much, which allowed the Germans to win that way. But again, don't blob up, for heaven's sake. So, there you go. Hope you learned something from this. If you did, why not subscribe, tell your friends. If you did, well, why not replay the video and provide some feedback in the comments. This is Imperial Dane saying cheers.